Jago Architects was formed 35 years ago. We have worked on over 4,000 projects. While majority of our projects are in Sydney, we do a lot of projects in regional New South Wales. We do projects in Victoria, Queensland, Perth, South Australia, and a very tiny fraction of our projects are overseas. We are a very client-focused practice. What do I mean by that? It's easy to explain. We don't go and apply our signature style on every project that we work on, because every client is different, every brief is different, and every site is different. And that's why we put you at the heart and soul of our project, and we work around that. And that's where connection to land comes into play as well, because every site context is different. Something that is rare these days is we listen. We listen to everything that our client has to say. We not only listen to them, but we also read between the lines, because what we have observed many times is that when a client tells us what they tell us that they want versus what they really want is different, and we are able to derive that when we are keen listeners. And obviously once we do the design, we deliver. We have been working in many sectors. Pretty much anything that is architecture, we have been in that sector. We don't have a niche. Our biggest niche is about the quality of service we provide. But having said that, probably 70% of our work lies in these categories. We work in commercial, industrial, we work in medical sector, we work in aged care, senior living sector, we work in education sector. That includes childcare centers, schools, training centers, TAFE, and whatnot. Government, yes, government is our big client. Pretty much every sector of government, whether it's a federal government, state government, local government, all emergency services like police, ambulance, fire, and rescue New South Wales, they're all our clients. Hospitality, we design hotels and pubs. We do lots of multi-unit residential buildings. We do some design competitions nationally and internationally. Some of our national recognized retail clients are our regular customers. And of course, we do single homes. Now, I've got this slide in here just to show that yes, we win awards regularly, but we never start a project with the intention of winning an award. It's always you, the client, at the forefront or the center of our attention. If we do win an award, it's only a byproduct. Now, it's a little bit unfair to talk about all these amazing buildings and whatnot without showing you the people working behind the project. This is what I affectionately call Team NJA. That's our family, NJA family. They are the ones responsible for the success of each and every project. That's them when I'm out in picture. Now, some of our projects, like I said, today I'm going to talk about something else after the project's bit. So I'm going to rush through them, but if you guys want to talk to me about any particular project later, I'm happy to stay back and talk to you. So sorry if it feels a little bit rushed. Ignore all the text, just enjoy the photos and hear me speak. How many of you know about the block in Redfern? Yeah. This has been one of the most soul-satisfying, most sensitive, most delicate project that we have worked on. We worked for 14 long years with the Aboriginal Housing Company on this project, and I feel really happy that we have been instrumental in whatever contribution we did to restore their honor, their pride, their home back at Redfern in Block. This is the business hub that we designed, childcare center, we have exhibition and gallery space, boxing gym, and obviously their homes. Now, Pebble Way in Redfern, if you guys are visiting Redfern, it's a very, it's not a closed door place. You can always, they will welcome you with open arms. I invite you all to visit that place. We have done so many of these affordable housing and social housing projects. I just picked one example. This one is in Petersham. I'm guessing one of you would have driven past it. Then this project is very old but still very iconic for us. This is in multi-unit residential building in front of Paddington Town Hall in Paddington. Now, I know you all have seen the growth of Redfern. Redfern skyline has changed in the last 10 years. But the very first two skyscrapers to go up in Redfern after the TNT Tower were our projects. I call them the Orange Building and the Green Building. And then we get these fun, exciting and challenging projects, lots of heritage buildings. We love working with heritage buildings because they come with their own challenges. They are, sometimes dilapidated building that needs a lot of TLC, but we come in, we add our magic and then, bring them to, give them a different identity and new life. Back in 2023, this was one of the biggest residential projects we finished successfully, 546 luxury apartments in Zetland. Some of you would have seen this building. This is directly opposite Petersham Station. This is the Petersham RSL Club and 200 apartments above. We worked on this right from concept design till the final execution stage. In fact, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese came for the opening of the club. And by far our biggest residential project till date, nearly 1100 apartments. This is our design entry for the 5-block project. Some international design competition project. This one was in South Korea. This is Museum of World Writing. When we designed this building, the government of South Korea, they invited us for the design, and this was a public plaza. And the beauty of this design is when we inserted the building there, we still maintained the character of the place, where we kept the effect of the plaza, where people could walk from south to north, even on top of our building, and kept that charm of the place. This is the same building from inside, how we are inviting the sunlight in. School project, this is Emmanuel School Campus in Eastern Sydney. Then Blacktown City Council is one of our regular clients. This is Rooty Hill Works Depot. And this was an admin building. I enjoyed working on this myself. It was a west-facing building, and the way I designed the roof to block the sun and yet letting people enjoy the views was great. People loved working in this building. This project also won an award. Now, definitely one of the largest hospital project that we have designed and executed. This is when it was designed. We finished this project in 2010. It was called as Medica Center, but some of you might know this building as Waratah Private Hospital in Hurstville. It was. I'm actually really proud of this project because we finished this in 2010, but as of in today's dollar value, this is probably $500 million project. And our team of only 5 dedicated full-time staff executed this project to perfection. I enjoyed working on this design too. This is St. George Cancer Care Center in Kogarah. I don't know if you have seen this building, but we refurbished the entire cancer care facility. In there we added an HODC department, and there was this infill element of the grand entry lobby that they wanted. They had a beautiful vision, and we came up with the design. They fell in love with it. We did the drawings, documentation, and it's built. This is the photo. And then some really fun projects. The very first UFC gym, a boxing gym of Australia, was designed by us in Alexandria. Then we do lots of childcare projects all over New South Wales, and this is just one example of childcare that we designed. This is DA approved in Castle Hill. Again, we do a lot of industrial projects. This is one example from a project in Gladesville. Even though it's an industrial building, when you look at the facade, we try our best to make sure we give it a different identity and that X factor. This is another industrial project that we finished about. This is a very old project, and the reason I'm still showing that to you because we're proud of it. This project was featured on the cover page of a Steel magazine because we are actually celebrating the structure. Usually the structure is always hidden inside the fabric of the facade, but here we made structure the architecture, and that's why it was featured on the cover page of a magazine. This project is aged care in Punchbowl. We finished it only about a year ago, or a year and a half ago. And as you can see, it won the Sydney Award, Australia Award, World Award. But the biggest award was when, after 9 months of the residents living in here, somebody went and interviewed the residents, and they said that we feel at home when we are living here. And for us, that is the biggest award. A hotel in Redfern. This is Woolworths, as I mentioned. They are our clients. We designed, I personally worked on this design. This is in Bomaderry in New South Wales. And it's a thriving, it's finished construction, it's a thriving place now. And of course, we design a lot of Dan Murphy stores all over Australia. But the one that I want to talk about today is the one that I finished about 8 weeks ago. This project is in Prawn Arcade in Melbourne. Now, Prawn Arcade is possibly one of the most significant heritage building in, if not Melbourne, at least the most significant heritage building in Prawn. Now, it's a beautiful, this is aftershot. It's a beautiful heritage building that needs to be celebrated. But if you look at the before shots, this is how it was before. As you can see, there is so much design clutter, whether it's electrical cables, cable trays, the structure going across the arcade, and the over signage clutter. So again, another photo to show you. But anyway, we come in picture, we work with our client Dan Murphy's, and this is what it is now. I want to take a pause myself and admire this arcade. This is the central spine. We basically are celebrating the heritage value of the building. We are bringing it back, bringing the glory days back. This was the inner bay before we went in, and this is how it looks now. Now, I know some of you might look at the wine bottles, but what I am looking at is the beautiful heritage fabric that we are now shamelessly showing off. We are celebrating it and we are showing it off. Some more photos of the project. And then of course we design a lot of homes all over Australia. Now, coming to an end of this discussion, we do get our fair share of media attention, and we also get invited to speak at, my friend Nadia is on stage with me. We get invited to talk on subjects that really matter in our design and construction industry. So, yeah. Now, you wanted to know about me, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about me, but I will still give you a brief rundown of who I am, what I do. So as you know, I'm an architect, I design buildings, I'm a passionate photographer, I love raising money for various charities, either through money or through my effort. And even though I'm not a public speaker, I get invited to speak about subjects that are really crucial in today's day and age, and something that I'm really passionate about. I'm passionate about connection to land, connection to First Nation people, connection or biophilic design. Now, I am going to talk about biophilic design in the next few slides. But what is biophilic design? The design where, I'm a big advocate of architecture having a dialogue with nature. And I'm a big advocate of that, and I practice that. And I think the architecture role, people understand that it's only to provide us 4 walls and a roof, but the role of architecture is much more deeper and greater than that. And in my humble opinion, architecture's role is not only to provide shelter, but also to restore us and to heal us. And that's where biophilic design comes into play. And the reason I am so passionate about this, there's a reason for if you're passionate about something, there's a reason why you're passionate about something, and so on and so forth. For me, why I'm passionate about biophilic design, I need you to come on a journey with me to my childhood. I grew up in a place on the outskirts of Mumbai. It's a place called Badlapur. Now, Badlapur back in 70s and 80s was a green paradise. Greenery everywhere, blue skies, clean air, dirt road, cattle on the streets, very rural setting. When you look at that photo, for you it's like any other village, but for me, it calms me down. This is me, this is home. It centers me. That's me and my brother in our front yard, in our best Sunday dress. Obviously, we have swapped our heights now. And that's me going to school. Not sure why I'm so happy going to school, but please ignore me for a second and look at the background in these two photos. I want you to see the rawness of where I grew up, see the dirt, see the trees around. Any free time we used to get, we used to spend on trees. We were hardly found on the ground. And if talking about school, if you thought I went to any fancy school, that's the school I went to. That's the beginning of my schooling career, and I'm proud of it. And that's me and my mom outside our super humble abode. Now, this photo is really important for me. As you would have seen in the previous slide, the place, the kind of rural setting I grew up in, having no electricity was a very common thing. So when the electricity used to go, especially in the night time, I used to see the blanket of stars above my head. And we used to quite often go to sleep under them. And to me, that is really a core memory from my childhood. That is what defines me. And that is why I feel I am so connected to nature. In fact, nature is in my DNA. In fact, nature is in everybody's DNA. And I will go as far as say that we are nature. Now that's the image of Badlapur I want that I left, and that's the Badlapur of today, mix of jungle and a concrete jungle. Now, connection of architecture and human well-being. This is what I was talking about, the importance of nature in our and to restore our health. What I want to do here is a quick 15-20 seconds of exercise. I want everybody to take a deep breath and close your eyes. And I want everybody to go to a place that makes them feel calm, relaxed, and peaceful. 15 seconds, let's close our eyes and go to somewhere peaceful. Thank you. Now I'm almost sure nobody will raise their hand and say, hey Sachin, I saw myself going into Burwood Westfield car park. There's almost certainty that most of you would have gone to somewhere close to nature, maybe a beach or a mountain or bushwalking or forest somewhere. And why is that so? Is because nature is imprinted in our DNA. We feel relaxed when we are surrounded by nature. And this is why the role of architecture, that I'm a big advocate of, maintaining that dialogue with nature through design. Now I'll explain that through some examples. This is the multi-unit residential apartment I recently designed in Nelson Bay. Now, when I was designing this, I made sure I could imagine myself in each and every apartment. And I made sure that the connection to the outdoor world was maintained in each and every apartment. The other aspect of biophilic design is taking cues from nature. Now, as you know, there is no straight line in nature. It's a man-made concept, straight line. So any free-flowing form that you see in this design is inspired by nature. Then there is this whole human and nature relationship that I keep talking about, having that strong connection from the interior space to the outdoor space, same project. And then orienting the building to the right direction, whether it's east or north. Even if it's west, it's okay. When you have the direction, big glass and west, we just have deeper balconies. So we invite the sun in winter days and we block the sun in summer. And obviously create great opportunities for good landscaping. Another example, this project is in fact directly opposite the ocean. This is in Wollongong. As you can see, this takes direct cues from nature. It's surrounding context and its setting. So you got to respect that when you're designing buildings and make it at home. Now, when I keep talking about that relationship of built environment and connection to nature, it is very important. So when I design the communal open space on top of this building, who wouldn't feel relaxed in this space? Then another example, an eco resort in the southern highlands of New South Wales. This one is DA approved but not built yet. This is eco resort, so where people can go on the weekends. And I'm happy to say that when we designed this place, each and every room created that strong connection to outdoor area. And I'm almost certain that if we go on a weekend trip here, we'll come back rejuvenated. And then when I design these homes for clients, so every client is different, every design brief is different. That's why every home is different. So let's, every home will be different. It has to be different. But one thing that is common in every aspect is that connection to nature that I try to establish. This is another project for another client. This is a very spiritual family that came to me with their ideas and brief and everything. And I was listening to them, and then, I was really moved by their personality, their story and everything. And then I start doing the designs, and I always start designing on a piece of paper. It's never done in computer first, because it's, without sounding too cliche, it is a very meditative process for me when I'm designing, and it comes to you. So when I showed them the very first concept on the butter paper, they couldn't believe what they were seeing, and they said, "This is it, Sachin, I don't want any more revision. This is what I want you to finalize. This is almost, this is lodged in council and we'll get approval any day now." As you can see, it perfectly blends into nature. I can't show you in internal photos as I don't have their permission. And this is a semi-outdoor area. So even the semi-outdoor area in that house, you can see such a strong connection to the orientation, sunlight, wind, and greenery, of course. Now, I get asked this quite often. It's great, Sachin, that you can design this when you are doing it from scratch. You can have all these fancy ideas. But what about if it's an existing building? What if we engage you for that? So this client engaged me to do an interior design for their office fit out. Now, same principles, you can orient, when this is, by the way, built now. These are CGIs, but it's already built and constructed. People are working there happily. Same principles, I made sure the workstations are closer to the window, that they can get the beautiful views of the Blue Mountain in distance. This is in Sydney, but you see Blue Mountains in distance. It is obviously scientifically proven that when people work in a biophilic environment, their heart rate, their blood pressure, it normalizes. And productivity increases. Now, which boss wouldn't want that to happen for their staff? So, happy boss and happy staff. Now, this connection about importance of design and nature, and the importance of it in human well-being. That story came home to me in a very personal way. Back in 2022, my mother was recovering from cancer, and because of her pre-existing medical conditions, chemotherapy was not kind to her at all. So even to recover from chemotherapy, we had to admit her to a hospital, and we admitted to her at a place, a hospital which was closest to us, without thinking too much, because we wanted her to get well as soon as possible. So just imagine a hospital like that. I don't have a photo of that, but it was similar to this. Now, even after weeks, if not months in that place, she was only going downhill, so there was no improvement. And as a family, we made a decision to move her to another hospital. Surely after 2 weeks, maybe she showed signs of recovery in the new hospital, but about around 8 to 9 weeks, she was almost ready to go home. Anyway, fast forward, we were at home, mom was at home, and she, 1 week after home, she just casually talks to me in the afternoon and says, "You know what, Sachin, I love the views of the mountains and the trees from that hospital, the new hospital." And that's when it hit me hard. How did I miss it myself? Because we went to the closest hospital, I was only focusing on the medicines. I forgot the other aspects, the importance of biophilic design. The views and the importance of biophilic design, if I can't convince people with this true story of my own mother, I don't know what else will. Fun fact, the medication between hospital 1 and hospital 2 probably wasn't that different. But I still obviously have to give credit to the new doctors and new nurses. But biophilic design is extremely important in human well-being. Now I'll just quickly do a case study, and I'll do our own home because I don't need to take anybody's permission to show their home for this presentation. Now when we bought this site in Stratfield South, we had an old house and there was a beautiful palm tree in our backyard. Now the palm tree was located in a place where I would have ideally loved to put our living room. Obviously the only option is to get rid of the tree. Now we were never going to do that. So we designed the house around the tree. You won't believe how many consultants and tradies were swearing at me for keeping that tree. They said, "This is not a significant tree, why didn't you just get rid of it?" I said, "That's okay, just do what you have to do. I've designed it, you build it." Anyway, fast forward, the house is finished, constructed. Anybody who comes to our backyard, they admire the tree more than our house now. It's because the tree has now become a part of the design. Talking about that strong connection with nature, we enjoy the beautiful sunrises, sunsets, moonrises from our backyard, and we just love it. Talking about orienting your project nicely to where north is, where east is, where west is. So when you orient your project properly, you can exploit the true potential of any site. For example, to the left-hand side is the kitchen in southwest corner. Now it's not easy to bring sunlight in southwest corner, but if you plan it properly, it's not that hard either. Living room is in north and northwest corner, so that does the job beautifully, that's fine. But just look at that dream cabinet. That dream cabinet to the right-hand side in the photograph, that is located in the center of the floor plan. If you imagine a floor plan, if I put my finger at the center of the floor plan, that is getting direct sunlight. And if you are able to bring sunlight to the center of your floor plate, I think you have done justice to the orientation. Then I'm a big advocate of real timber. Touching timber is actually a story in itself, because when you touch a timber, that's like, if not thousands, it's hundreds of years of hard work the tree has done to store carbon. So that authenticity is important, that tactile feeling is important. And again, I'll use the same words, it's scientifically proven that being surrounded by real timber calms you down. And then, because we didn't get rid of the tree, our friends from the backyard who called it their home before we did are still here and enjoy their home. The kookaburra agrees. Now, quickly, just to give you a few more minor details. I mean, I've got hundreds of details for our home that I can talk about for 2 hours just about this, but I'm just going to briefly touch on something else quickly. We all love our spaces, nice rectangular spaces, living in a nice rectangle, dining, kitchen, everything nice and rectangular. But if I had to do that, I had two options. Either really narrow down my living room to avoid, to get the 3-meter setback, or possibly lose the tree. If I can't get 3 meter, I have to get rid of the tree. So what I did was, instead, this is just one example, just to show you the power of design. What I did was, I angled the wall in such a way that two things happened. One is obviously I got to keep the tree, but what happened was, this is the kitchen and island bench. Now this is the space where we 4 people as a family spend most of our family time together, our waking hours together, where kids are doing assignments, we're cooking or whatever, and having a chat. What happened because I did that and not that, is that wall became invisible from that angle, and I'll explain that with the help of Photoshop exercise. Now, this is the photo, this is the view. So if I had done a traditional rectangular living room, obviously I would have seen the back of that wall, and I would have lost some of my greenery view, and I would have also lost the tree. But having done what we did, the wall became invisible. The tree is there doing its thing by providing us shade and shadow and giving us the beautiful looks. I don't know about you, but I know which view I prefer when I'm having my morning tea and enjoying that cup of tea on this beautiful timber table. We're coming to an end of my presentation. Some important tips that I hope add value to your today's discussion. Always check where the north is when you're doing anything, whether you're designing any kind of building, because that's then designing with the first principles. Then color on facade. This is a new topic in my mind. I see many people these days putting darker colors on the facade. It's okay to put darker color on the facade, but just be mindful where that is. Try not to put darker color on the western facade, for example. Connection to nature. I'm not going to talk much about it. I think you guys have a PhD now about that topic. So, connection to built environment is also very important, and I'll explain that with an example. This is the iconic heritage church, St. Anne's Church in Stratfield South. This is directly opposite my house. Now, I had to pay respect to that church in my design. This church has got a massive metal roof on it, and that metal roof has got a very dominating presence in St. Anne's Square. Now, I paid respect to that in my design. Then this is my neighbor's brick palette, and that's our front facade. So I not only paid respect to the church, every other neighbor in my design. So it's not about standing out, but it's also about standing out plus merging in and paying homage. Go with what you really want. When you're designing something, and this is coming from experience talking to n number of clients when they want, don't worry about what neighbors are doing. They might be doing 7 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms, 10 bathrooms. Cut all the noise out. Dig deeper into your own mind, your own heart, and see what do you really want and do that. And I keep saying this because home is an extension of your personality. Your home should reflect that. Source locally if possible. That obviously goes to say that we are reducing our carbon footprint if we're not shipping everything from far away. Recycle and reuse. Don't be afraid of using recycled stuff in your brand new home. An example. Each and every brick in our house is a rescued brick from various sites in all over Sydney, because if they would have gone to landfill if we didn't rescue them. And that's why we have such a varied pattern, because it's a mixture. So we created a palette for that, and all the random bricks we put behind the render. Use natural materials as much as possible. I'm a big advocate of that, and you heard me before about timber, using natural timber. Last point, it's very personal to us, you don't have to follow it. It's social sustainability, small space is smart space. Now a true case study to wrap up everything that we have discussed. This happened with me 5 years ago. A draftsman working in my office, she came to me in the morning and she said, Sachin, I really need your 5 minutes in lunchtime. And I said, okay, cool. And I spoke to her and she said, we're really excited, me and my husband have signed up a project home. I said, brilliant, congratulations. Just show me the floor plan. That's the floor plan. Obviously this is not her house, but it's exactly the same scenario. Now, I think you guys can see what the problem is here. In the interest of time, I'll quickly jump into it. All her living areas are facing the wrong direction. And I see this happening every hour in Sydney. People buying projects home and not, and compromising on their entire life in their house. So what I said to her is, okay, you have signed up, your contract is signed, no problem. What I want you to do is talk to your builder and just get him to mirror the floor plan on the vertical axis. Just that one little change. And if your builder is asking even for a single dollar extra, tell him to call me. Anyway, he did it at $0 cost, the change after signing the contract, and that changed her life forever, because now she gets to live in, all her important areas are facing the right direction. And that was 5 years ago. Every time she meets me, she says, thank God, Sachin, I spoke to you even for 5 minutes. That has changed the way we feel in our house each and every day. That is the quiet power of design. Now, if I want you all to take something from today, it is, the future of architecture is not just in designing beautiful buildings. It is in creating empathy and in listening, and also remembering that, you know, connection to nature is connection to ourselves. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr.